And everybody, welcome to this month's Public Works agenda. We have a number of items to go through. First, we're going to, item 1 is to receipt of monthly reports and citizen committee meeting minutes. Item 1A is the March 2025 Highway Department report. There is an attachment. Any questions or comments from members of the board? I see none. I'd just like to pay a compliment to the staff during these heavy rainfall days and all, particularly throughout all of Public Works and Kyle D, the highway team, just extensive cleaning and making sure that flooding and problems in the roadways are at a minimum. So thank you. I see none, so I'll move for approval of the Highway Department report. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Item B, February 2025 Refuse and Recycling Department report. Any questions, comments from members of the board? I see none, so I'll move for approval. All those of the minutes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We're going quickly if we can tonight. Item 1C, March 2025 Parks Maintenance Department report. There is an attachment. Any questions or comments from members of the board? Commissioner Rappaport, well, I thank you for that probe. I appreciate it.
Thanks. I just want a big thanks to Public Works for a real fast response to clean up John Russell Park.
As you said that, my screen went blank. I don't know what that means. Okay, I'll simply add the same thing to the Parks Maintenance Department, to Bob D. Just amazing work, throughout. So it's greatly appreciated in this spring weather and with everything that happens. So much gets done. So with no other comments, I'll move for approval of the March 2025 Parks Maintenance Department report. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Item D, the March 2025 Street and Traffic Light Superintendent report. Any questions or comments other than mine from members of the board? I see none, so I'll simply say it's clear that Joe Stucker sleeps only in 2-hour shifts because the amount of work that he produces in a month is just exceptional. So Joe, thank you for so much that you do. It's greatly appreciated. I see no other hands up to comment, so I'll move for approval of the March 2025 Street and Traffic Light Superintendent report. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Item E, March 2025 Fleet Superintendent report. Questions or comments from members of the board? None. Jim Slade, just thank you for continuing to maintain our very actively used Public Works and police fleet. No questions or comments. I'll move for approval of the March 2025 Fleet Superintendent report. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Item F, March 2025 Stormwater Coordinator report. And I'll just say to Samantha Brinker, you are finding and exploiting constructive and productive ways to spend the enterprise fee funds, and that is greatly appreciated by this commissioner, and I'm sure by the whole board and by the whole township. Are there any other members of the board who'd like to add on to that? I see none, so I'll move for approval of the Stormwater March 2025 Stormwater Coordinator report. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Item G, the Shade Tree Advisory Committee, which met on March 13th, 2025. There is an attachment. And again, in my style, just like to compliment how they're maintaining and expanding what they perceive as the importance of the greenscape and tree canopy township wide. So just want you to know that your work is appreciated by the board and by the staff as well. Any additional questions or comments from members of the board? Boy, we're going to go too fast tonight. This is very daunting to me. If there are none, all those in favor of the Shade Tree Advisory Committee report for March 13th, say aye. Aye. Thank you. And item H, the Environmental Advisory Council, which met on March 17th. There is an attachment. Are there any questions or comments from members of the board? I see none, so allow me to indulge again. There's proactivity on the vegetation and solar panel ordinances, and just an expanding collaboration with staff and board by the EAC, and that again is appreciated, and it's why we have all these citizens committees to contribute to the quality and the life of the township. With that, I will, Commissioner Rappaport, thank you. Please.
Thank you. You mentioned the two, there was also one on plastic, the plastic silverware.
All right, the single use.
What's the status on that one?
Staff?
I can give an update. I was at that EAC meeting. It's still in the works with the wording for the ordinance. I know Ms. Wheeler is looking into updating similar to the plastic ban update ordinance. So it'll be similar like that. So I'd be looking forward to it in maybe the next couple months.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments from members of the board? I see none. I'll move for approval of the EAC minutes from the March 17th meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Item 2, old business. Do we have an update on the SEPTA Easton Road Bridge project schedule? Please, whoever is going to weigh in. Oh, Mr. Stuckert,
that's going to be me.
in your yellow sweatshirt. You go right ahead. I guess this is after one of your snooze fests. So go ahead.
Yes. We had a meeting last week. Allison was there. Bo, it was a Teams meeting with the county, SEPTA, Abington, and Cheltenham to discuss the upcoming lane restriction on Easton Road, which will be for 2 weeks while they do some demo work on the platform above on Easton Road. They deemed this necessary to avoid any accidents or any piece of the bridge that are in poor condition from damaging any vehicles or any personnel getting hurt. That's why they're going to do a single lane closure. It will be flagged. SEPTA will have staff out there to observe, as well as the county has committed to have somebody on site for the entire 2-week duration in case there's any issues that they can be addressed immediately. I did speak with Commissioner Armand prior to that, since it's in his ward and he was leading that previously, and he was okay with that. We did ask them not to start until April 7th, which they did agree to. And they've also sent an update out to the township, which is posted on our social media platforms, as well as to Deb Campbell, who was notifying all of the businesses. So notification did go out, and they will be starting, weather permitting, on the 7th.
Terrific. Sounds like all the bases are covered. Commissioner Harmon, I see that hand up. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to thank also Joe for his, sort of bringing this whole project along and continuing to stay on top of it. Just to be clear, this 2-week single lane closure is not the bridge reconstruction project that we talked about. That's going to take 6 weeks. That's going to happen. They got postponed because of the SPS fire. That's going to still happen in the post July 4th timeframe. This is simply SEPTA taking preventative and preventative steps and precautions in the event, because the bridge itself is in such disrepair, that the work they're doing on top of the bridge results in concrete or whatever falling onto the road and God forbid somebody getting injured. So that's what this is about. And I think it's a wise decision to, from public safety point of view. And also SEPTA has been accommodative in the way that they presented that they would, number one, by contacting us and giving us at least some ability and some notice to the public so that people are aware of this. We asked them to sort of not start immediately and give us until next week, as well as communicating both to the township formally and to the Downtown Glenside Foundation. So this is the way cooperation works, and in fact it is working, and it's appreciated. The only thing I'll say is I'm not positive, and if it has, forgive me, and we should probably do it again. I haven't seen this go out on our social media yet, and I'm not sure that it's on the top page of our website. If it is, great, but If not, we should push it out again on social media just to make sure that folks are seeing it multiple times before Monday.
Yeah, I do know that Lauren is copied on these.
Yeah.
And she did mention the other day that she did get it out on the
Okay,
website.
fair enough.
So yeah, and just real quick, this is the only reason they push this to do it now is because they have track restrictions coming in May, and they needed to get this work done prior to those track restrictions because they need to work on the tracks during those restrictions as part of this. So that's kind of why this was, pretty important for SEPTA to get this part of it done up front.
Thank you,
Gonna
Mrs.
add on,
Stucker.
that's a 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. closure, so hopefully it doesn't affect morning rush or afternoon rush too much. It'll be starting at 9 a.m. and done by 3 p.m. every day.
Terrific. Any other questions or comments from members of the board or staff? So that's a great update, and as Commissioner Orman said, it's collaboration and communication at its best when we have to get something like this that's going to interfere a little bit. So that's terrific. Okay, any other old business from members of the board? Commissioner Rappaport.
Yeah, thank you. I wanted to follow up on those electrical fires that we've been having. PECO's been doing a lot of work, and I'm not trying to point fingers, but PECO has been doing a lot of work, and there have been more than the Academy Lane fires that are attributed to some of the things that are going on. And I think several of us are concerned about the oversight on PECO's contractors, subcontractors and all. And I think we really need to take a hard look at that. I know our fire marshal said that he was in touch with our liaison folks, who was in touch with the higher ups. But I think we need to make a much more definitive voice on that and follow up with some serious supervision.
And
I don't know, what are we doing?
I think that's a great point. Before you answer that, I think Commissioner Rappaport, I know a few of us expressed some concern because what it says is there may be a subcontractor that really does not understand or live up to all the current requirements, technical and otherwise, in doing something like this. So I think it's a combination of being on PECO, but it's also on us to make sure that these are subcontractors who are authorized to do business, and we get a chance to vet them or vet their credentials and then do some checking, I think, which Commissioner Rappaport mentioned is really critical to make sure that they, in fact, understand and know what the risks are. And the fact that we had 2 episodes, in a
Actually,
single
more
area.
than that.
Yeah, so I really believe there needs to be that oversight, both by PECO and in fact by some of our staff, I think is really critical. So I saw your hand up, Joe. Do you want to add something to that?
Yeah, so with that, I do know that the Academy Lane was attributed to that. I was on the phone with them. I was there. I was on the phone with the contractors. I was out there with PECO. And the one, just so we're clear, South and Paxson is not attributed to the upgrade. That just happened to be the fault location for a fault that happened further, for a fault in the line that happened further down the line. And that was just the weakest point in their cable. That's why, that went off there. I know they've been out there since then and working on that every day to make permanent repairs out there. And as far as us vetting PECO's contractors, we have, just so you understand, we have zero say in that. We have had meetings when PECO brought all their contractors on board. They brought them into the township. We had meetings with them. We expressed to them what we expect, what we need. But I will tell you, I have sent some not so pleasant emails and gotten some results from that, because of issues that have arisen. Bo's reached out, Kyle's reached out. So we do stay on top of it as we get complaints, but the township itself and us, for employees of the township, we don't really have a say in who PECO hires. They have their requirements. and how they vet their contractors to do the work that they do, and the qualifications that they have are pretty high because of what they're working with. So again, I know we talk about it in our office all the time. Some things that we may not be happy with, we do reach out to our representative, and we've reached out directly to the contractors. We've reached out to the management company that's overseeing the project. And basically right now, all the Pico electric crews that you see in the township are all working on the same project. They've actually brought like 5 or 6 contractors in that they're using of their, contractors that they have vetted to do these, all these parts of the project, because it's a very large project. So, Public Works, we are in touch with them multiple times a week on any concerns that do arise. So, want you to be aware of that we're not missing it. We're not forgetting about it. And we do reach out quite a bit to them. Sure. For anything that does arise.
I wasn't suggesting the issues was with us at all. My concern is that when you get an event like that, you then incur significant township resources, fire, public safety, etc., to be able to take care of that. And I guess, Mr. Diazio, I would ask you, are there in fact liability issues? And then to our liability carrier, are there some claims that can be associated with it, given that in fact there's a direct correlation between the work that they did and that at least one, if not more, fire events?
Was that for me, Mitch?
It was, Reeve. I believe you're still our solicitor.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if there are direct damages that the township incurred, we can certainly have that discussion. I can work with staff to take a look at that.
Thanks, Ed. That was only a joke. You're greatly appreciated.
Of course.
I sometimes on an early month thing haven't gotten rid of all my humor problems.
No, the Zoom broke up there for a second.
The day after Fool's Day, me. So thank you. Any other questions or comments on this? None? Okay. I will, I'll ask that we continue to follow up on that. So are there any other items of old business? Commissioner Armand.
Yeah, thank you,
bail
Mr.
me out.
There you go. Every day is April Fool's Day. So I have a question. I know that Roger's on here and others who may be involved, but we have a business that's trying to start in Glenside that apparently has EDUs allocated, but and has submitted its sewer planning module back in November of 24 and is still waiting for responses from Aqua. So I guess my question is there a reason why these are taking so long? Are they taking longer than normal? And is there anything that we can do to move the process along? Because word's going to get around that it's hard to stand up a business here in Cheltenham, and I think we need to take some proactive measures in order to counter that narrative. So, Roger, do you have any comments on that?
Sure, I can answer that. Actually, that was submitted around the same time that the revised connection management plan was submitted, and DEP was holding that one until the connection management plan was approved. I was copied on a draft approval letter of that this morning. So the connection management plan should be approved once the EDUs are confirmed as correct in the DEP letter. And I would imagine that shortly after that the planning module will be approved by DEP for that business that you're referring to.
That's great. Is that a normal time frame? I mean, is 6 months normal? Here,
six months can be for a full-blown planning module. Typically, they've been doing them quicker than 6 months, but this again, kind of got caught up in the waiting for the approved EDUs and the connection management plan. So they were kind of moving parallel through the DEP, and the EDUs for this business was tied to the connection management plan.
Roger,
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, I think just as a general matter, I think we as a board and staff and our consultants, I think we need to just again dig into this. You know, it's sort of like deja vu all over again with the EDUs and getting approvals and that sort of thing. And I'm just wondering, there's got to be a better way to be dealing with this. And look, one time, another time, I get it. It's going to happen. We're in this predicament, but I think we have to start taking some affirmative steps to either get ourselves out of this predicament or come up with better methods to have this expedited, because it's just simply unfair to burden these entrepreneurs and our taxpayers and our residents with these inordinate delays. So that just my 2 cents.
Unfortunately, Matt, it's commonplace like this in other areas of the state that are under a connection management plan.
Well, let's fix it then. Let's either make it so it's not.
I see you, Henry. I'll be with you in a minute.
Let's make it so it's not the normal, or let's get ourselves out of this connection management plan process. And if there's even if it takes time, it's okay. But let's start making steps to do it.
Before I acknowledge you, Henry, I mean, we've had to live under that moratorium through DEP, and it was one of the trigger points for us selling our stormwater system, the sewer system, in order to mitigate the continuing delays. It's a very frustrating process, and I think we have to find a way to bring all the parties together in order to eliminate that continuing barrier. I hear that it's something that happens elsewhere, but we've been living with it for what, 13 years? It's more than we can endure, I think, in attracting and sustaining people that want to invest in the township to put new businesses in. Henry, go right ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to also add to what Roger said regarding the CMP report that was submitted. This was actually in conjunction with Jenkintown and Abington. So it looks like DEP reviews them together. And I think the holdup wasn't Cheltenham or Jenkintown, but it was Abington. There were some issues that came up as part of the review process for the for the Abington portion that probably created some of the delays as well. But as Roger stated, it looks like, there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Okay.
That's good news, at least. Yeah.
Perhaps we need to enlist both our state rep and state senator just to urge a change of attitude, particularly as it starts to impact businesses' ability to come into the township or to create an image, of continuing delay. Any other questions or comments from members of the board on this additional important piece of old business? Commissioner Norris.
Thank you, Commissioner Sigmundfeld. Yeah, just a quick add to that. Aqua should definitely be involved because, as you were saying, one of the main reasons for selling the system was the expectation that Aqua had better relations and would bring their power and effectiveness to dealing with DEP. And it has been far too long, and it's been affecting businesses for years coming into the township. So it needs to be addressed. I agree with the previous comments.
Thank you. Okay, I'll close that. Any other additional old business? I see none. I'll close old business and move to new business. 3A, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners adopt a resolution granting conditional approval and associated waivers for CTDA 25-01 for a minor lot consolidation at 742 Sunset Road for 2 adjacent parcels under the same ownership into one lot without any site improvements. The parcels are comprised of a single-family detached dwelling with the driveway access from the vacant lot. There is attachment on the website. And I believe, Henry, you sent us some information on that one. Would you like to take that on, or if somebody else does?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, just to add to that, the applicant had been requested to submit either a revised plan showing certain aspects of the review letters, and they did submit a request for waivers specific to existing vegetation and contour lines as part of the requirements of the ordinance. I believe the applicant is online and can jump
Is the
in.
applicant or their representative here?
Hi, excuse me. Hi, yes, we're here.
And who's speaking?
Yeah, my name is Evan Hauptman. I'm the architect working with the owners. I believe the owners are also on the call.
Okay, so why don't you just catch us up on from your vantage point, just as a summary.
Yeah, sure. The owners own 2 adjacent lots, 742 Sunset Road. It's an intersection of Sunset and Church. There's an existing single-family residence on the lots. When they purchased the property, it actually turns out it's 2 lots. So we'd like to consolidate them into one lot. At this point, there's no proposed work submitted for review, so it's just the lot consolidation.
Okay. Mr. Diaz, is there any legal issue here?
No, we're in the process of preparing an approval resolution pending the board's action this evening. Mr. Sekawongo did send around a staff recommendation letter, and there are no legal concerns, no staff concerns on this one.
Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments from members of the board on this?
Question, Mr. Chair, what ward is this in?
Ward 1.
I think it's in 1.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I'll just note also for the record and for everyone's benefit that the Planning Commission also recommended approval of the lot consolidation. So if you're
Thank
looking
you,
for a
Mr.
motion,
President.
if you're
Absolutely.
looking for a motion, I'll make one. But if you want to make it, that's fine.
Go ahead. No, you make the motion.
I would move for approval of the adoption of the resolution for CTDA lot consolidation.
Anybody want to amend that or whatever? Any discussion? So I will take that and move for approval of that resolution. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. Item B, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners award a contract to Armour Sons Electric in the amount of $625,229 for traffic signal improvements along the Old York Road corridor. There is an attachment, and I believe Mr. Stuckert, again, you're probably on the spot for this one as well.
That is correct, Commissioner. Thank you. So this is the 611 Carter upgrade project. It's an LSA grant that we've been working on this with the consultants, with PennDOT, with DCD for well over a year. This was supposed to be a fiber optic project. However, there were significant delays with PICO and PennDOT making those approvals. And we were given an opportunity with PennDOT to change that to a cellular program rather than fiber optic, which we then didn't need PennDOT or PICO's approval for pole usage. And at the same time, that will save us a significant amount of money. As I noted in the report, that so we will actually end up under the grant funding amount for this at this point, barring any major issues on the ground. And there will be no money that would be needed from the township at this point. So everything would fall under the grant amount. And this did go out to bid. We had 2 bidders, as you see, and Armour Sons was the lowest bidder on the project.
Thank you, Mr. Stuckert. Any commissioners have any questions or comments on this one? Commissioner Rappaport.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess I didn't fully understand that it was going from fiber optic to cellular. Are there any quality or other kinds of considerations that come with that change in how it works? Any implications for storm outages or anything?
No, so the
how
only
it's used?
this is strictly, the fiber optics was strictly for the interconnection of the signals, so that they could talk to each other and they could be remotely seen at PennDOT. It's to replace an old system that doesn't work, hasn't worked in probably over 8 years, 9 years. and the company that was originally put it in no longer represents that brand and can't really get it fixed. So, like I said, that's why at the time fiber optic was the way to go to make this interconnection. There was a lot of work on Bowman's behalf, working with PennDOT behind the scenes on some things. And when it became apparent that we were having some issues, we reached out to PennDOT again, for certain things wording that they may want in the bid for connections back to them. And that group we met with PennDOT said they were putting cellular out there to do the same thing. And with that, the cellular comes with no cost. So that's where we saved all that money. And they own it. They will own that equipment and they will maintain it. As far as if something breaks, they pay the cost to replace it. All we're doing is paying the cost to have it installed, and then, just keeping an eye on it, making sure it works and things like that. So, really nothing that anybody's going to notice, of any difference. Again, in this way, if there are storms that take down, lines and things like that, this wouldn't be affected by that.
Thank you, Mr. Stuckert. Any other
Thank you.
questions for Mr. Stuckert on this one? I'm sure our Director of Fiscal Affairs appreciates whenever you say it's going to save significant money. So thank you, Mr. Stuckert, and thank you for that team. Any other questions? I see none, so I will move to recommend that we award the contract for Armour Sons in the amount of $625,229 for the Old York Road corridor traffic improvements. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Item C, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners adopt a resolution authorizing staff to submit a grant under the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development, DCED, PA Small Water and Sewer Program in the amount of $437,310.66 and committing to cover the remaining cost of the project to replace the collapsed storm pipe on Valley Road. There is an attachment. Is that in your court, Samantha?
Yep, thank you.
Okay, thank
Mr.
you.
Chairman. So this stormwater pipe replacement project is located on Valley Road from Old York Road to North 12th Street. It is going to consist of replacing a 12-inch terracotta stormwater pipe and include the installation of a manhole that will allow for easier access to that pipe. Also, the project proposes the replacement of 3 of the existing inlets at the intersection of Valley Road and North 12th Street. All this work will be done within the township right away, and due to the pipe's depth, the project will need to be contracted out. So that's why we are seeking funding through DCED's PA Small Water and Sewer Program. And the 15% local match will go towards the engineering and construction cost of the project. And as you know, this helps with our township initiative on improving our infrastructure throughout the township. So in front of you tonight is the resolution to authorize staff to submit the resolution and with the grant application. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Yeah.
Okay, questions or comments?
Yes.
Commissioner Norris.
Thank you, Commissioner Ziegman-Feld. Samantha, so you said we're obligated to do the 15%. So my question has to do with the wording when it says that the township will be covering the remaining cost. Is that referring to our 15% share, or is that referring to the possibility that this might cost more than the amount of the grant that we're applying for?
So the project right now is the construction cost would be covered by the grant, and our match would be covering the engineering fees. So we intend to keep it within that budget of the 15%.
Okay.
For the township's responsibility.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'll jump in. Sometimes costs, with passage of time, there might be some escalations or unknowns. So it could go over that estimated cost, and yes, the township would be responsible for the difference. But like Sam said, we will try to keep everything as close to the projected budget as possible.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments on this one? I see none, so I will move to recommend that we adopt this resolution to submit the grant under DCED Small Water and Sewer in the amount of $437,310.66, recognizing that we will have a 15% obligation on that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Are there any other items for new business for the April 2nd Public Works session? I'm looking to see if there's any from the township staff. Okay. With that, I'll close all business and I will move into citizens forum. And Darlene's already got a hand up, so we'll recognize Darlene Mountain. Please go right ahead, Darlene.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
How are you doing? I want to, oh yes, I put on my work wig because my hair was a mess. So, again, I would like to thank everybody, and I do mean everybody, who was involved in 2 issues here. As you know, I live on the borderline of the 2 wards, and I can look at John Russell Park from my kitchen window. I thank everybody that came out to remove the piano that someone dumped in the middle of the park and all the other trash and things. I also would thank everyone because with the demo at B&D Street, and you're talking about Pico, there was a line that ran from one building. Maybe it got knocked down, I don't know, but it was in the middle of the street. It looked so dangerous to me that I did call 911. See, I do call 911 sometimes instead of the commissioners. And when I went back the next day, it was gone. So again, I thank everyone in the township, the commissioners, and also for your time, because I know only got 3 minutes. And I know that email might have took y'all more than 3 minutes to read, but thank y'all. Okay.
Thank you, Darlene.
Chef, why are you laughing? Because me and you still have to talk. Oh, but I did notice that the boat is gone. I know you looking, what boat? The boat that was on School Lane that been there for who knows how long. So things are getting done. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Any other, I can't see everybody, so are there any other people want to weigh in on citizens forum?
I don't see any.
I see none, so I will close citizens forum. I'll move for adjournment of the April 2nd Public Works session. All those in favor?
Aye.
This is record time. Thank you very much.